Hey, welcome to a very hands-on just for show episode. This is a very special one. I'm going to introduce you to some of my musician friends who are so gracious and wonderful and willing to make good music with me. Let's go. The Just for Show.
He wasn't much to look at, but he had a heart of gold. He'd give the shirt off his back just to keep you from being cold. He didn't live perfect, but he tried to live right. He give up his pride just to end the fight.
As you've surmised, I have given Sir Joe Pyeweed, the week off because I wanted to introduce these friends myself. They're all people who have played on the record. I'm going to start with my friend Steve Peffer. Steve Peffer is a multi-instrumentalist, and by that I mean he plays multiple versions of keyboards and pianos and organs, and he is phenomenal. He actually is the music director and keyboard player for Alabama. Yeah, that guy. That Alabama. If you're going to play in Texas, got to have a keyboard player. Something like that. I don't know how it goes. Anyway, Steve Peffer. Well, I'm going to introduce you then real quick. Steve Peffer, that's how you say the name, yes?
Yep.
Steve Peffer. Steve Peffer is a Nashville-based native. Where are you from, Steve?
Originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, actually,
okay.
Elwood City, Pennsylvania.
Steelers fan?
It's about this big. A little bit. I was, but I'm not a big football fan. I'm more a hockey guy.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, as a kid, I was a Steelers fan because they were I'm of the age where that was when they had their big dynasty with Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris and all that. So I think I quit being a Steelers fan when Terry Bradshaw retired.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything. I watched the Super Bowl, and that's about it. Yeah. And I'm still there. And even now, I just look forward to food. So Nashville resident, Pennsylvania native. You've been doing all kinds of music for many, many years now, right? You've got your own productions, your own studio, 524 Productions.
I do, yeah.
Yep, you're a session musician for several people, and you've or toured with. I was just kind of creeping on your webpage, and some of the people listed: Big and Rich, Luke Bryan, Winona Judd, Chris Allen, Florida Georgia Line, Trisha Yearwood, and my favorite is you're the music director for Alabama.
Well, I share that chair with another person, and ultimately Teddy Gentry is the music director of Alabama. But I kind of take care of a lot of things with charts and set lists and the stuff they don't have time to do. And I'm kind of Randy Owens guy.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. How long have you been working with Alabama?
I think about almost 10 years, coming up on 10 years. And I started, Alabama was taking a break at one point in their career, and Randy Owen wanted to do a solo project.
Okay.
And so I met him through that, and I went out and filled in for the keyboard player for a gig, and I guess Randy told the manager, "You're not going anywhere."
Fire that other guy.
He said he didn't. So I started that, and we toured a little bit for a couple years doing Randy's solo record, and we naturally did a lot of Alabama songs, and a lot of those that Randy wrote. Or he wrote or co-wrote with the other guys, with Teddy and Jeff. And then when Alabama decided to start touring again, Randy wanted me to come in with him. So
that's great.
That's how it all started.
Wow. And I think I told you that in an email that I can't say the name Alabama. I mean, I always think of like the closer you get is my favorite song of theirs. But I always think of Forrest Gump when he told Ginny, you should go home to Greenbow, Alabama. You can let them know there's an annoying fan who can't not do that. I'm pretty sure I've never seen Alabama live, but our son has. He and his wife have seen them a few times and relatively recent. So he's very likely seen you live.
Where we're at?
We're up in Minneapolis, so I don't recall where. There's a few different places I saw him. Probably the State Fair one time, and then probably one of our arenas, or we have a lot of cool theaters in the Minneapolis area. So, or maybe it was an outdoor thing. I don't know.
I love playing the Minneapolis State Fair.
Yeah,
getting the little donuts y'all have up there.
Yes, and if you next time you're up here, get the Sweet Martha's cookies. Those are fabulous, but you got to buy the whole bucket. So you probably want to make sure others are going to share with you, because if you're like me, they don't last, and I regret it later.
Yeah.
We have a great state fair, though. Yeah. Is there any really touring? What was 2020 like?
2020 was a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Doing a lot of production work then, or other?
I was mostly doing either production work or doing sessions for other people.
Yeah.
And I do I probably do a mix of live sessions, in other people's studios and either big studios downtown in Nashville or there's so many home studios here, and we kind of all work in each other's places. So I probably do half and half, some of that, some here. During the beginning of the pandemic, everybody that had a studio, we were just all sending tracks around to everybody.
Yeah.
Which we were already used to doing some. But I remember the first session I did after, when things started getting a little better and, people were starting to work again. I thought, oh, it's so nice to play with musicians again. Everybody in the same room or in the same place, and just there's a magic that happens with that. That's one of my favorite things to do sessions with other people, all live, all at the same time, and you kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and you kind of play off of each other, and it's a cool thing.
It's cool that we have the technology to be able to do what we do relatively easily, just dropping files over the internet. So it's a way to keep alive musically and sustain. And that's kind of how, we'll transition into talking about me, because this whole thing is about me. That's how we ever started working together. It was some years ago. Joe Gilder, he does a home studio corner, and I was trying to bone up on learning how to do studio things. And he did an offering where he could pull together a band to help kind of track your songs. And this 4 or 5 years ago. And so I sent a song in, and you were I think they did the tracking at your studio. Yeah.
We did, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I remember, I'll probably have to find it. You may have a more current studio too, where I could drop a link to that or something. But I know Joe did a tour of your studio at the time, and
he did, yes.
Because I couldn't be there, and everything in me wanted so badly just to go and just be there and just witness that. I love that kind of stuff. As much as I love being in the band doing it, I could sit in a studio and watch musicians do that all day long. If I could get paid to just watch people play, I would do that.
Yeah.
So you guys tracked actually, and it turned out being a couple of songs for me, and it was phenomenal. I just remember hearing these your parts. I loved everybody's parts, and I forget who the guitar player was. Jason Roller, great parts. But your parts, I would do a mix and I would send them off to. I had a friend who mixed somebody. He's like, "You got the organ parts way too loud," because I just love listening to them. So they end up being super loud in my mix. I was like, "This is so great," and then. I don't recall when it was. You sent a note out about some probably COVID rates or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should work with Steve. So I sent you a bunch of songs for the Just for Show record that in fact, I think you play on most of them, maybe all but maybe 1 or 2. There's only 6. So you play on a handful of them. And I just love everything you've done. Thank you so much for just being willing to play with a less than professional musician, if you will, and make me sound good.
Well, thank you for for sending me the work. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, especially, just for show in particular, there was a sound I wanted, but I didn't know if I really knew how to communicate it. And I was kind of thinking of that Bob Dylan, like the '70s, like just this cool sound, and you just nailed it. So I will send you more work, and in fact, Steve Peffer, I'll have links to your website. If you need a keyboard player, Steve Peffer is your guy. He can do it. He can do it all. So you have a V3, you have a Whirly piano, and you have like a Baby Grand, or I don't recall. Like I know you did piano parts, or were you doing that on keyboard, or what do you typically?
I have an upright, but some of the samples I have, I have a Yamaha C7 sample. I use that. It sounds better than my upright, so
sure. Yeah.
So I use that. I use that most of the time, and it kind of has that classic. Well, most of the big studios in Nashville will have a Yamaha C7. I mean, there's some other great pianos too, but that's kind of the classic one that has through the years, it's always stays current. Kind of like the V3 too. I mean, the V3 and has through, I don't know, even from the '60s. It's found its way into music, just about every genre and through every time period. There's the V3 has survived that, and it's still very relevant. So it's a cool thing.
Yeah, but I would say, your piano sounds. There's a song in particular of an older one of mine where you played piano and you did a B3, and the piano I would have never known it wasn't a real piano.
Yeah.
But the B3, I think, and it's probably partly how you track it, and it's also, you can kind of almost feel like the air flowing as the speaker is moving and all that. And I don't know that I've tried. Maybe it's just me. I can't recapture that with a plug-in.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the air moving, and I mean they've gotten really close. They've gotten really close with some samples, but yeah, to me that's. They still haven't. They've gotten close, but they haven't nailed it.
Right.
Yeah, it's nothing like the real thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I love. I mean, it's a whole. It's like from the time you fire it up, and you can smell the tubes a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Dust on the tubes when it's warming up. Or even if I go to check the mics in the Leslie room, it kind of has a little familiar smell to it.
Oh yeah, the experience is beyond just your ears. It was just all senses. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Hey Steve, I'm going to ask you some questions, and some of them will be good questions, and some of you might be like, "Why is he asking that?" So bear with me. I got a couple.
I didn't know it was going to be a test.
You can't fail this one. This first one is the one I've asked everybody, and it's sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard. What's your favorite song of all time?
Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas.
Ah. What about that?
Superstitious. Stevie Wonder. I don't know. Those two.
Yeah.
That one's probably. I don't know. That's a hard one. There's so many great songs.
Is it the keyboard parts in it? Because both of those have some very distinct parts. Yeah. Okay, so if you were to die and come back, this is where it gets ridiculous. If you were to die and come back as a note in the musical scale, which one would it be and why?
That is a good question.
It is a good question.
Man. Well, there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
Which one would I want to be? That's a good question. Well, I love the way, and depends on the genre, but I love the way flat keys cut through on a piano when you're playing a country ballad, like a traditional country ballad, and you're playing the low fills like Pig Robbins would do. He was a famous session player. So maybe A flat. I don't know.
A flat. Okay. Wow. And I don't know why I would go to G because of my lack of training, and it's more of a chord because that's the chord if I pick up a guitar, I play a G. That's the first chord I always play. So I think that's where my brain would have taken me. But A flat, I like that. Good answer. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I'm a little bit. My son got me into it. When
Okay.
he's 11 now, but I think when he was 9, he really got into Star Wars, and we watched a lot of them. So
Yeah.
John Williams, did all the
Oh yeah.
music on it, which is amazing. So I've always appreciated that.
Is
But
he still
having
doing?
more
Is he still doing the new movies? Like, I mean, not. I mean, like the sequel ones. Did he do those as well? Like
I know he did a few of them. So I watched a documentary where they even they even gave him an acting part, which he really didn't talk. But it was like
an
a
extra.
neat little cameo.
Favorite Star Wars character?
Um,
Or least favorite? Some people think negative.
well, Jar Jar Binks seems to always be a hot topic.
Poor Jar Jar. Yeah.
And I kind of thought he was funny.
Yeah.
So he and my kids loved the way he talked when they were, especially my daughter, when she would watch them. She thought it was funny. So
yeah.
But
That's a good.
I know there's lots of Jar Jar haters that I've heard.
But it's unfair. I mean, Jar Jar Binks gets a bad shake. He cared. He actually didn't he save them, even if it was kind of through goofery. He ended up doing good things. So I like that answer.
Yeah,
I would go with that too. Just because, come on, don't be so mean to poor Jar Jar. It's not his fault. He didn't write the script.
That's right.
Okay, this is the most important question. And I've not asked anybody else this. I wish I would have thought to beforehand. But if animals could talk, which one would be the rudest animal of all?
Somewhere between the raccoon or the possum.
Oh yeah. We have a lot of raccoons. I've always lived in the suburbs, and raccoons are all over the place, and they scare me. I can see them being quite rude. Yeah. The possums. I mean, I've not seen those. Are they? I thought all they did was lay down and play dead.
Yeah, but they have a terrible looking tail.
Oh yeah.
We had one on our porch one time, eating the cat food.
Really?
And so I got a close look at that. They're ugly. So maybe the raccoon is the rudest, because the possum, that's an ugly looking thing. So we shouldn't be mean to the possum, I guess.
Right. It's not his fault.
Not his fault.
Yeah. Oh, well, Steve, thank you so much for this. I appreciate it. And thank you for helping me out with this record. And I have more. I'm going to keep writing, so I will keep sending you things.
Well, cool.
So much. I appreciate it.
I always enjoy playing on your songs, and you always send me great stuff. So.
Oh, thank you. Steve. My next guests. Two guests. The power couple, Jillian Rae and Eric Martin. Jillian Rae is a phenomenal singer-songwriter from the Twin Cities, and she plays in multiple, many groups. And Eric Martin is an incredible producer and Jillian's guitar player and collaborator, and together they are a power couple. Jillian and Eric. It blows what? No?
No.
Well, just when it's this cold, like it's old windows, we have plastic up on some of them, but I mean the walls feel cold. So when it's this cold outside, there's only so much that our poor little radiators can do.
So it's working its tail off.
Yeah, it's the reason it's not going right now is because it has to have cool down period.
So it don't blow up?
Yeah, so it doesn't blow up. Yeah, exactly. It's a safety precaution.
Well, if I'm wearing 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants right now, if that's any indication.
My wife does that in the summer.
What?
I don't understand that.
I don't either. She's always cold.
I'm always cold, but I feel like whenever pants cannot happen, pants are the worst. I hate them. Yeah, except for when it's like negative ass freezing outside, then you have to wear 2 pairs of pants. Cool. Not cool, Minnesota.
Yeah, our house does fine until it's like 5 below. Once it's below 0, then it has a hard time keeping up. Yeah.
So then you don't care if it's 5 below or like today, what is it, 35 below?
It honestly, it doesn't really make a difference for how it feels in the house.
It just makes me mad.
Yeah.
Is the difference it makes.
Jillian Rae and Eric Martin. Power couple.
Hi.
Power couple. I was Googling musical couples, and it was kind of interesting because I'm like, oh, yeah, a power couple. Actually, yeah, you're a power couple. I'm going to say it.
Are we
Well,
a power couple?
Appreciate that.
That's pretty cool.
Well, you
I
should
bet
use
if
that.
you Googled my name, you're not gonna find me.
I did find a
you
musician
think
from
we're
like the
different.
80s.
I'm
Yeah,
the one
you
who
look really good.
wants to be with you.
Is that who does
That's the
that
guy.
song?
The lead singer. We share the same name.
Yeah, he can never have like an ericmartin.com because that dude's already very famous.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can get a lot of gigs, I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At
I'd be
casinos.
Big in
Yeah.
Japan.
Big in Japan. But I looked up, you got Captain and Tennille. You got Beyonce and Jay-Z. So you guys are in good company. Gwen and Blake.
We are just like Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like
The
exactly
weirdest.
the same.
Here's the weirdest one, and I'm not comparing you guys to this, and unless you like this, but I didn't know Avril Lavigne and Chad Kroeger from Nickelback were a thing. Did you know this?
Yeah, I knew.
See,
Are they still a thing?
I didn't know they were ever a thing.
Like, do you
fact-
think they got the big D already?
I don't know.
So you guys are more privy than I am.
I mean, the only reason, like, mindless scrolling on the internet. Oh, there she goes.
It's like what it sounds like when it started. It's like we're starting an airplane. See,
Yeah.
they're in the inside of an airplane, folks.
Please fasten your safety belts.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you show them what we're listening to?
Oh yeah. We're referring to this
The boiler.
system here with all those tubes and pipes and wires.
It's noisy, but it is how we stay warm.
It's keeping them
negative
alive,
ass
folks.
freezing weather.
It's keeping them alive.
Yeah. We
And
do
we already-
turn it off, though, quite a bit when we're recording, and then then we have to, like, take a warm-up break.
We have
Right.
to decide when we're done for the day.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as it's like 5 o'clock, we can't really record with the
When
heat
the
off
sun
anymore.
goes down.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be telling people this. They can, like, what kind of
Well,
a rickety operation are they running over there?
Raise your rates. Winter rates are higher because you
Yeah.
have to freeze their balls
Seriously?
off to.
Should.
We should
Yeah.
do that. It gets really hard. Again, I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants and 3 shirts. Like, that's how we make it work.
Right. So let's talk about you two, Jillian and Eric, the power couple.
The power couple.
You guys have how long have you been married? I don't know you guys really.
Well, we're friends now, Ted. So, whether
Right.
you realize it or not, our friend Ted. You were written on the whiteboard on our fridge for a long time. Got to do
With
the songs
the whole-
for our friend Ted. Just
Oh,
Ted
you- 'cause
H,
you
though,
didn't-
because I
yeah.
can't.
I didn't want to write that.
That's a long one.
Yeah, I know. It was a
How do you
weird stage
say?
name.
I know I need to answer the question, but I have to ask you first. How do we pronounce your last name?
Hebajeba.
Habajeba.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Ted Habajeba.
Married for 10 years.
Our 10-year
10
wedding
years.
anniversary was during these COVID times.
Really? Oh well, happy
Yeah.
anniversary. But you get to be together. That's good.
Yeah,
You know.
We went to the cabin, right?
yeah. No complaints. We went to the cabin, looked at some old pictures, probably to
Yeah.
commemorate.
Did we do that?
I'm sure we did.
Our anniversary will be 10 years on the 23rd of February, which will be
Oh.
probably
Oh,
before this
wow.
airs. So we are married 10 years as well.
Congrats.
We're gonna go get a donut, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what we do. We would go to. Well, I don't think we'll be able to do everything this year, but we would go to like Mickey's Diner.
Oh,
really, just because.
fun.
Oh yeah, they're so great there, and just dumb ass things, and that's our thing for our anniversary.
Yeah.
This year
I think
was
like just having it around food, I think, is the important thing. As long as you're getting some sort of good food, that's how.
Did you start as musicians in some group setting together first? Did you get married and then say, "Hey, you're a musician too"? When did you find out that you were musicians then?
Well,
Should we do the shortened story?
I'm gonna cut it all anyway. Don't worry about it. All this stuff is just being nice
It's
to you.
kind of a story.
So, did we meet as a part of a group? Sort of.
Not together.
My sister was a part of a group Jillian was in.
Oh.
And
Classically.
a
Classical.
classical violin troupe.
Wow. Troupe? Is it troop? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
I always thought
I
it
don't
was
know.
Troupe.
Troupe sounds cooler.
Troupe.
Yeah.
Troupe, if you
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
And I guess
We
I
technically met in an airport.
Yeah. Yep. We met in an airport for the first time. I got home from a semester abroad and found out that my mom and my sister were going to be going to Austria with the violin group. So I was like, I have to come along and see every country I can see. So I'm going to go on that trip.
Right.
And the rest is, as they say, history.
Awesome.
I was a performing violinist in this troupe. Eric came along for the trip. We met over there technically, and we've kind of been like glued to the hip ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. So then,
That's
how did the
15 years.
Oh my
15
God.
years.
14.
Well, it's 2021.
Well,
Round up.
it'll
Round
be
it up.
15.
Yeah.
It'll
Rounding
be
up
15 years.
slightly.
The cool thing is our anniversary has always just been the day we met, like the first day of that tour. So, easy to remember. And then when we finally decided to get married, because we were engaged for a while and we were just like, let's plan our wedding when it feels right.
Sure.
So we planned our wedding in like a month, and we just chose like, well, what's the Saturday that works the best for us? And it ended up being the same day, so we never had to
Wow.
change the date.
Like the airport meet date
Yeah,
and the
and the wedding
and
date.
the wedding date are the same.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Makes things a
Easy.
lot easier.
Yeah.
We got married on a Wednesday because
Nice.
our honeymoon was the next day. So we thought we should get married before the honeymoon.
That's
I'm
I'm
probably a
still
good
waiting
idea.
for our honeymoon. It'll happen any day now. We spent
Well-
one night in Duluth after our wedding, and then on Monday we went back to work.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
Jeez.
babies.
So you got to do what you got to do. But now you can spend the honeymoon with the boiler.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Let's hope it's not running in June.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I've heard your music, Jillian, and Eric. I've seen a lot of things you do because
If
you're
you've
a
heard-
producer
If you've heard Jillian's music, you've heard me
He's
play
my
guitar.
he's my
Yes.
guitarist. So,
So-
yeah.
and you're a
there's
producer too. I mean, I see you on
Yes.
I'm on one of those. I forget what it's called, Twin Cities producer studio nerd thing or something. And
Oh yeah,
Um,
the internet groups. Yes, I do. Yeah, there's a ton of gear around here, and we do a lot of work.
We do a lot of work together for our own. We're collaborative in what we do as, Jillian Rae, but we also do a lot of work for other people. And that, I think you can safely say you also help produce those. Like when
Yep.
I'm doing string parts for people, like Eric is involved in that process as well, because I do it all, like what I did for your record. I do it all
Yeah.
down here, like as I'm recording it typically.
Right.
I
Right.
don't sit down and write it out ahead of time unless it's a very special circumstance.
I like to say that like I'm an audio closer
Ooh.
audio closer.
or finisher. Like I a lot of times like I'll get asked to help people finish their songs.
Like mixes and mastering.
Doing
or-
mixes, doing masters, and like sometimes that means adding parts
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
or manipulating a part so that it's basically a different thing. What all in the effort to like help finish it in what I think is finished.
Finisher is a cool word. It sounds almost mysterious, like you could be working for the mob.
Right?
Like
Oh,
you're the
yeah.
one who takes care of business.
The finisher.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of thought of it as like in the baseball sense of the closing pitcher, the closer, the person who finishes the game
Yes.
out, right?
Equally intimidating.
to win the game, right? Yeah, it's like okay, they're gonna bring this guy in to finish the game, and that's
Yeah.
when that was a few years ago when I first started thinking of it that way.
So to that end, you should come up with a theme song. So every time like you
Yes.
come in and to finish a
Walk
song,
on.
and then they're playing like Guns N' Roses or something crazy,
I'll
Probably
do
could find a-
my own like guitar harmony thing.
Make it
Yeah.
real wanky.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be in the
I like
email
it.
when I send the email out. You'll receive
Right.
the email, but there'll be a little clip
So-
at the bottom.
You need a finisher theme song, and you guys have to come up with seasonal rates.
Seasonal
yep.
rates.
Seasonal
That
rates.
is, yeah,
You're-
until
you're
we
welcome.
move.
Jillian, you have your solo thing. I know you've done a lot of things like that. You did something for the Loonies. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're like, are you in other groups, or are you just mainly like just kind of filling for people, or how does this all?
I mean, now during the pandemic, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, like I need this or that for a song. If you want to, like whatever it is I can add. With the
Right.
Loonies, I mean, it was created during the pandemic, and really what it was my friend Chris sent me a song and asked if I would sing harmony on it, and mentioned I might have more to throw at you if you want to play fiddle. And I'm
Sure.
just, I wrote this song like during the pandemic, and at that time, I feel like we were all thinking that like life might start getting back to normal at the end of summer. And I remember him wanting to get it done so he wanted to show it to his mom or something. It was kind of like an ode, like to give to his mom as like I'm sorry we can't be together, here's this song, and it kind of conveys the feeling.
Right.
And now here we are, almost a year later. At one point I was in 9 bands, I think. And that was before
simultaneously?
Simultaneously, and then I decided to start a solo career and was like, okay, I'm gonna have to lighten my load a little bit. So I finally started saying no to a few things. I like stopped doing a few projects that were just like fewer and further between, and committed to, I think for a long time I was in 6 bands, right? Including my own.
I can't keep track
I feel
of it.
like the big number was 6 for a long time. And it's dwindled since then. I mean, obviously now
Right.
it's such a weird circumstance.
Yeah,
but we're
right.
finally starting to create some new music for ourselves after, during the pandemic times, this last year. We've been recording a lot of music for a lot of other people, which has been
Right.
really cool. Really happy to be doing that and collaborating and to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of reaching a point where it's like we should put a week aside to like make
Do
some
your
new
own thing.
music. Yeah, for
Yeah, yeah.
ourselves. So that's what we're doing this week, actually.
Has it been difficult to be creative in that vein? Obviously you're working, you're making music with others, but to make your own, has that been hard? Because everybody seems to be like either just going gangbusters or dried up.
Yeah, it's been hard for me. I had a total like writer's block situation, it felt like, which I've never had before until recently. And actually what kicked me out of it was a project I was commissioned to do for someone else. But the project was to write anywhere between 8 to 10 original songs. And they were for like a children's organization that centered around therapy and like kids who have gone through trauma. So these songs all had to have like certain themes. So it was good to have those parameters to work under, but
Yeah.
it got to the point where they said there was no deadline, and I tried to write a few things here and there and just couldn't do it. And finally we talked at the beginning of January and decided, let's have this thing like done if you can get it to us by February. So in true high school procrastination form, I cleared my schedule for a week other than teaching, because I do then teach like a small load of private students too virtually right now. So for an entire week I taught and I wrote and I taught and I wrote, and by the end of the week, which you're gonna know how weird this is, I had to record and video perform all the songs, and some of them were only like a day old
Yeah.
because I wrote 10 songs in a week. And that got me out of it. So I feel confident now
good.
going into this, writing our own stuff. But it is a little different when you don't have all of those constraints,
Right. And I saw you have on your website, you had the Pen Pal Initiative.
Yes.
I think that's awesome. Do you have a lot of people who write you letters or send you cards?
I did in the beginning. Honestly, I haven't checked our P.O. box in a while.
Didn't have anything last time I checked.
Yeah,
so.
it's definitely trickled. But in the beginning, I think especially when we were like just starting to lose our sanity, and then when all
Yeah.
the fuckery was happening with the USPS, and it was like, let's all write letters.
Oh, yeah.
Was around when I started it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I still get a little trickle here and there, and it's really fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll send you a CD in there.
It wasn't much to look at.
Great.
Yeah?
Perfect.
We'll check it in a month.
No.
That's okay. I'll send you one a day until you check it.
Ooh.
What else am I going to do with these things?
Oh,
no
come
gigs.
on.
I got no gigs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
It's very difficult
hard.
to do a live stream and sell CDs and T-shirts
Yeah.
at the live stream.
Yeah.
I haven't
But I
figured
mean,
that out
it's
yet.
just like a regular show, though. If you remember to mention it, it's not like it'll ever be the same as a regular in-person show, but didn't we
Oh
got
my
a
God.
random order just the other day. Somebody ordered all of our CDs,
Yeah.
and they're from like Kansas or something. Like,
Oh,
you
that's
just never
awesome.
know.
That reminds me, like, when you talk about like not being able to sell CDs, like we went on a tour in February of last year, and we had like none of the first record of Jillian's first record left. We didn't know if we were gonna make it through the whole tour with what we had left. It was like, you know, maybe 20 CDs or whatever.
Yeah.
And we ordered another 1,000.
And this
was,
was
like,
right before, like, we got back a week
feeling
before
really
the pandemic
confident
started.
about ordering those CDs because, you know, we've
these
sold
puppies
enough.
are selling after all these
Right.
years. What's another 1,000? Let's do it.
Right.
We were also going to be embarking
had
on a really big
big
world
tour.
tour that obviously got canceled.
Yeah.
Which I'm really
Right.
glad we didn't order the members only jackets merch that we were thinking of, because
Yeah.
that would have sucked.
I
That
am-
said,
Jillian
like,
Rae Tour
China on it.
2020.
You were actually gonna have members only jackets.
We were
Just
gonna
a
make like tour
couple.
jackets, yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be so awesome?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Someday.
Yep. Especially for like a kind of like once in a lifetime type trip where you like don't really know if that thing's gonna happen ever
Right.
again.
Yeah.
So let's
Right.
commemorate it with something
Yeah.
funny and
Don't
fun.
jinx it. Just treat it like this is it. Let's
Yep.
like live it up.
Yep.
So if you do the tour in a couple of years or whenever it opens up, you should get it with 2020 on
With
it
it
and then cross out the
scratched
zero.
out.
Yes. I'm gonna do flight pants.
Nice.
Remember flight pants? I will do
Yep.
flight pants.
pants. I just feel like for me it has to be something I would want. Like I wear, like we'll come downstairs at different times in the morning and then we'll look at each other and just laugh because we're both wearing like our Jillian Rae hoodie because it's comfortable, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
you gotta get stuff you think is cool.
We cycle enough stuff out to thrift stores too that it's like at a certain point it's only Jillian Rae attire left in my wardrobe. I've got
That's
like
awesome.
I've got like 8 Jillian Rae t-shirts. Not that I only have 8 t-shirts, but it's like the chances of getting a Jillian Rae t-shirt when I go into the t-shirt drawer are pretty high.
It's gonna be high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should make Jillian Rae tracksuits.
I thought
And
about it.
big gold
Velour.
chains, you know. Yeah.
Velour. Yeah.
Yes. That would be.
You want the velour tracksuits?
Velour tracksuits, and I once, not a gold chain, but I was going to commission a jeweler that I just had met on a tour. This was a tour a long time ago. I think it was at one of the Nebraska tours. But I met a guy at a vintage store that was selling jewelry that he made with like real stones and things like that. And he was a dreamer, like an undocumented citizen, and like his family was over
Oh, really?
in Mexico. Yeah, and I had like the most amazing conversation with him, and I took his info. I was like, if I do necklaces, like you've got to make my heartbeat necklaces. That would be so cool. And I wanted to like give him
Yeah.
the business, and then it just ended up not working out. I think really what it was something happened and he moved and I couldn't get a hold of him.
Oh,
But-
that's a bummer.
Yeah. But still, I think, I don't know, if you can like work with artists and people like that, that you just so happen to meet or that you're a big fan of. Stacy
Yeah.
Combs, Stace of Spades, is the artist in town here that did my most recent merch, like the sweatshirt and the postcards. It's
I'm
fun.
gonna make football jerseys with my name, so it goes all the way like over the shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Like down the sleeve.
Yeah. Are you working on your own music? You're gonna make a record soonish, or don't know, or just seeing where it goes, or
We're not
Yeah,
going to put the
no
pressure
timeline.
on. We're
No
just going to
timeline,
see
but-
what happens
Yeah.
after this week. Because again, I've had kind of like a almost year-long drought of my
Yeah.
own stuff, and like
so a
you know,
record soon. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, in like a month. No,
Yeah.
I have no idea. Could be a record. Could be a bunch of singles. Like you know,
Yeah.
when you're like the record that you just made, like. You know how it is when you're like putting it together, like which songs fit together. Like I'm not even gonna worry about that. I think if
No,
we
it's
write a
hard
bunch
when
of
you're-
songs that are different, we might just not release them together. I don't know.
When you're in the writing process, you can't write. I don't know that I can write a record. I'm sure people do that, but I usually it's like, oh, these start to fit, and then it almost makes itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But writing a record would be hard, you know,
Well, you would have to write like 100 songs and then pick your favorite 10. You know what I
Or
mean?
just do
with the intention of
Yeah.
making a record. Yeah.
do
Yeah.
the Pink Floyd thing and like basically write 10 songs in one key and just
And
let
then
it
call
go.
it a concept album.
And do a
I
lot
could
of
do that.
Call it a concept album, yeah. Dark Side of the Moon is in like E minor and G the whole time.
I did not know
Like
this.
almost the whole record. I think it does modulate to like A, but for the most part it's all in that one key.
I'm gonna go listen to that.
Yeah.
Pop in
Interesting.
the Wizard of Oz, make it a
Right.
night.
Yes.
But you got to line it up perfectly, don't you? I don't know.
There's
but
3
it's-
roars.
It's
hit,
like with
hit
the Lions
hit play
roar.
on one of the roar.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. I learned something.
And actually, you don't even have to do that. Just go on YouTube and type in like
Yeah,
Pink
they've already done
Floyd. You can just watch it already done for you on YouTube.
Let's watch it now. We'll have a watch party.
He wasn't much to look at, but he had a heart of gold.
Hey, let's talk about.
I'll need another glass of wine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I'll take a nap in the middle because I can't stay awake in movies.
Understand.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Let's talk about me.
Let's talk about you, Ted.
You guys helped me with my record, which was very
sure
kind of
did.
you. Very, very kind of you. We did a couple songs, and you even got a new microphone. I know you sent me a picture of this new microphone that I was like, wow, that's probably the fanciest thing I've ever seen.
I'm pretty
got a
sure
couple
your
fancy
record is the
microphones.
first thing we ever used it on, which is really cool.
Every time I would get the parts, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. It was super exciting. It was just a lot of fun. And I really appreciate you guys jumping in and helping out
It was
like
our
that.
pleasure.
And the Ren song, especially, I know we talked about that. You called me and you're like, are you cool with all these different parts and doing all this stuff? And yeah, I almost cry when I still listen to it. I didn't say that right. I still almost cry when I listen to it. I almost cry when I still listen to it. Yeah.
I almost cried.
Yeah. My wife can't listen to it. She can't. She won't.
Oh.
Well, it's her dad. So that song is all about
I
her
understand.
dad. So, yeah, it was wonderful.
It was
Super
so
great.
much fun to work on, especially when you gave me the green light to just like do whatever I wanted. You know,
Well, that was
got a
like,
little wild.
over my head, and you're describing things, and I'm like, I think I get what you're saying, and I probably sounded a little intimidated on the phone, but it was.
Honestly, I think I was just so overly excited. I was just like, blah. I mean, most of the time people are just like, I kind of want this sort of sounding thing. And, you know, you don't have to like speak the language of violin for me to figure
Right.
out what you want. But I think for yours, I was just, when we first talked about this, I thought that both of these songs would be fiddle parts, which is just like 1 to 3 takes of a few
Sure.
different things. You decide what you're going to keep in the mix and not use, whatever. And this song ended up number 1 being more of like an orchestrated,
Yeah.
like, you know, multi-layer violin and maybe viola, I don't remember, parts. But then it got to be like not just 3 parts, but like 6 or 7 parts.
Yeah.
So that's where it just started getting
gets fun.
really fun.
Yeah.
I
it
think
was
that's really fun.
super cool. And then I sent him to Ryan to mix, and he was like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I sent him Eric, thank you for doing that too. Just kind of creating a mix of the parts. And
Yeah.
this is a good reference because it is a lot. If you're
Yeah,
the mixing engineer coming in blind, and
Yeah, I feel like, you know, when we're working on it, we have a balance, so why not send that balance as well? It just, I feel like sometimes can make life easy. Like you could just pop that into the song and call it good.
right,
You know?
and he might have. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
And then other people are just like, give me the stems. I want to do it all myself, whatever. It's just everybody's so different. It's like, I think we like to send a little bit of a mix over just because when I'm listening to it to like decide if it's done, I want to hear it mixed somewhat.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Needs to be somewhat sonically balanced.
And I don't know
love
how you're
the
gonna play
song.
all 6 parts when we play this live. 'cause
Oh, shit.
you're gonna figure that out.
I got this one pedal that can do it all.
We'll just lip sync. Everything will lip sync. Yeah.
Just
Do
throw it
its
on a
tracks.
backing track. I'll be in the back row listening. You don't even need me.
Lip syncing and dance moves and choreographed, you know, with the members only jackets.
Tracksuit with the members only. Yeah, we've got some things to work out here, Ted.
I've got some wardrobe work. Yeah. I never really worried about wardrobe much.
Just black.
Just this. My wife does
Oh,
not
yeah.
love it. Yeah. She
No.
doesn't like it.
I like it with the longer hair vibe. You got kind of like
Yeah.
a vintage something going on.
I
Is
know.
that the
it's-
COVID haircut.
Yes, I can't tell you when I cut my hair last.
Uh,
Maybe
Never
it's
cut
like
it.
an Easy Rider vibe.
Is that what it is?
That's what's coming to my mind. I like it.
Or maybe it would be more like in Starsky and Hutch.
oh my god.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Why can't I think of Ben Stiller in Starsky and Hutch? You know, have you seen that movie?
Yeah,
How-
the reboot. Yeah.
yeah. That would be more me. Easy Rider's kind of cool, but
You
Ben
got it
Stiller.
going out.
What did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say? Brandy Manhattan. Brandy and 7. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it.
You guys know I have grandkids. I think did I tell you that? Mm-hmm. We taught our oldest grandkid to do that, so he does it to my wife. And she loves that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Do it. Yeah. We're ruining those poor kids.
That's what we do as an aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
That's your job.
That's our job.
That's the job.
I've got some questions for you guys. Some super important questions. So each of you, and it can't be the same answer. Favorite song of all time?
Oh, that's so hard. Of all time?
Nobody's going to know if you got it wrong.
You go first, Eric. I'm a bad decision maker.
Oh, she's going to hate this. It'd have to be Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Why would I hate that? That's one of my favorite songs.
If the
well, you
one
can't pick that one now, Jillian. So
great
you
favorite
first.
song of all time.
How long do we have for me to deliberate over
Just
this?
the first song.
That's why you said I'm gonna hate it, because that's my go-to. So I can't pick Dreams. Stevie Nicks is like pretty much my idol. She's my girl. Fleetwood Mac is amazing.
Yeah. You can do the live version of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
The live version? Honestly, this might be a dumb answer, because this is more fleeting, and I think it has like
no dumb
room
answers
to change. But like my favorite song right now, so let's say it's my song that's just always in my head right now, so it's my favorite song of all time right now, is Andrew Bird's Pulaski at Night.
I
love that song so much. You need to look it up as soon as we're done.
Well, I
play it.
I'm
I walk
a
around my
playlist.
house playing it on my violin. It's just such a good song.
I will look it up.
Such a great melody. I love him so much. So much. Oh, duh. I just came up with another that actually, it's on the test of time. Impossible Germany by Wilco.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of the most perfect guitar solos I've ever heard. Ever.
Yes. It's my favorite experience of that song was the last time I saw them.
Which show was it?
Theater in St. Paul. This had been a couple of 2018 maybe.
Oh wait, was that at the Palace?
Yes.
I was there too.
We were way in the back watching this show, and so there's this guy who was oddly tall and really long arms, and he kind of reminded me of Mick Fleetwood actually.
Oh.
And so during that song, when the solo's gone on, you can watch him. It was like he was having this most religious experience you could ever have. And he just his hands just kept going up to the point where it was like, and you just watch this guy just like, he was out of body, and it was beautiful and so cool to watch somebody delighting in something that I've delighted in for years.
But you were behind him, and he was very tall.
I watched him. Well, you could tell because he's sitting and his arms were
Oh,
sitting.
So you were up, okay. I was down where people stand, and you
always. The cool folks.
I always get stuck behind. No, I think it was either that Wilco show or Spoon at the Palace. I'm not sure which, but that was when I decided I crossed over into I am not a young person anymore because I don't want to do this fucking standing room shit, and I'm always behind this 7-foot tall asshole that won't move. I'm just like too crabby for it. I'm just especially when it comes to Wilco, I always have that little, maybe it is out of body, because I say it verbally every time, and we've seen them live a million times. Like, I'm going to be fine this time. Like, the first time,
I don't need to go to the front.
I had to be in the front. I just gravitated, like, I'm fine, we can go wherever. And once we get there, I'm like, zoom. And I just can't help it.
Oh,
and then I become that guy because I'm 6'1". So I'm standing in front of
but
people.
he
somebody
helps
else.
me
But you're doing it
push
for
through.
Jillian.
Yeah. So you're taking one for the shorter team, if you will.
As the tall guy standing in front, Eric, do you internally, are you feeling that? Like,
I'm very aware that I'm the tall guy.
So do you try to like crouch down at all? Or?
No, I don't crouch.
Do you
But
do this a lot?
I'm just very aware.
Try to like get in people like when they're trying. I'm gonna get around his head.
You've let people in front of you before.
I have let many people in front of me.
Just because it's like the nice thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Listen up, tall guys who don't let the short people behind you.
Be
a
aware.
little bit in front
I'm
of
also
you.
I'm very aware of the people around me, and if I see somebody's frustrated because they're short, I let them be in front of me.
Yeah, that's very nice of you.
Well, he's experienced my crab ass like
Sure.
at so many concerts.
Yeah.
But
Sympathy, empathy, whatever.
yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've never seen Wilco standing. It's always been in a theater of some sort, and I've always been
that's
sitting.
amazing.
I'm a very lazy Wilco fan.
Impossible Germany, one of the best. But
Yes.
I'm keeping Andrew Bird on the list because he's
Yeah, you get them both.
amazing. I get them both.
Absolutely. And then plus, since you lost Dreams,
Yeah.
it's a concession.
Way to cramp my
If you will.
style, Eric.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I was like, well,
It's okay.
the first song that came to my head was that, and the second song that came to my head is "The Song Remains the Same" by Led Zeppelin. I just
You get two.
Not bad.
something about
Not
that
bad.
12-string riff in that.
He's taking notes. Yeah.
I
We're
am.
gonna
I am.
put that
I'm
on
making
it.
a playlist, so I'm.
Oh,
like,
nice.
And plus, I'll
Understood.
forget. Like in 2 minutes, I will not even remember what we
Right.
talked about.
Relatable.
Yeah. See, you're getting there.
Yeah. I'm no
couple
longer
more.
a young person. It's okay. Unless you think I am.
Well, to me, you both are very young. Yes, I'm striving to be 70. That's my goal. I just
I feel
can't
like I
wait.
was born 70 for some reason.
Yeah, get off my lawn. My son and I go to the cafe in town. We live in a tiny little town, Watertown, and they have one of those cafes with like 4 seats that
yeah.
we're waiting for a couple guys to die off so we can take their seats. One time, a couple seats were empty, and we kind of just went up and sat there, and everybody looks at you like, "What are you doing? A loose seat? Get out of this!" And
Oh,
There's
those are
not
like
much.
for life the same guy's seats.
right.
You're not
and
going to be able to have their seat when they're gone. It's going to be a
memorial. They'll
a
like
memorial.
yes,
There'll be a
no.
coffee cup there. It'll just, be like with the plaque in front of it.
Right. And this plate set there,
That's when Ted just sits down and puts his plate right over it.
Yeah.
just total disrespect.
Just like
Rocking back and forth.
I've waited
on
a
the
long
bacon and
time
eggs
for
on
this
that
seat,
on the
okay?
steel plate.
You mind if I use this plate? Just wipe it off.
Very
Here's
nice
another
people.
important question. If you two were to die, and I'm not hoping for this, but if you two were to die and then come back as the other person, Jillian, you come back as Eric, you come back as Jillian, what would you do differently? What's one thing you would do differently and why?
One thing I would do differently.
I literally gave you guys the hardest question I've given anyone.
That's a very hard question.
I'd go to a different college.
Actually, yeah,
Why?
we just talked about
Why?
this.
Why? Because
Yeah.
Same.
Jillian made the choice of her college because of a relationship and not because
And money.
not because it was the best school.
Got it.
Oh, you're saying you would do that on my behalf?
I would do that if I were you.
Aw.
See,
that's
that's
what it is,
the
right?
guy who lets somebody in front of him because he's tall. You're just
Exactly.
a nice guy.
He's amazing.
Wow.
I like him. What I would do differently if I were you, I swear to God, I'm not just like taking Eric's answers, but we talked about this just the other day about the college thing. And I would do the same where either I would not go to college and just start pursuing my dreams right away without the influence of like other people, parents, whatever, saying you have to do this, that, or the other thing. And or I would have gone to the school that I was excited about that I felt like I couldn't afford. One of the two. Probably for you, it would have been best if you just didn't go at all.
Probably.
Just start pursuing. Because
Kids, pay
truthfully, for
attention.
the kids out there, I have my degree and I don't need it for what I do for a living. It benefited me as a musician, totally. So glad I got it. But I could be doing what I'm doing without it, for sure.
I mean, that's a good point. I think there's a time and place, and certain people it makes sense,
Yeah,
and certain people it doesn't.
Yeah.
totally.
There's currently an over-glorification of what a degree gets you.
Yes.
And
Nowadays, it's not a lot.
for the last 20 years, kids have been sold that they have to go to college
Right.
and then have to go to the second round of college in order to get a job. But the reality is, we have a workforce who have master's degrees that aren't willing to take a job for $30,000 a year. And there are
Understandably,
people-
because they have
Which
to
you
pay their
shouldn't-
debt. Right?
Yeah,
You think about
totally.
that.
right, it's
It's not- I don't
totally
think-
understandable. I mean,
Yeah. It's not, there's no blame on that person.
no, there's no blame on
No.
that person.
The jobs that should be available are not available.
Yeah, it's an industry of
Yeah.
somebody's making money off of that.
Yeah.
And it's odd that it's been going on so long because people know this, yet we know this, yet we still repeat the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the real problem is there's not a cap on how much wealth you can have, in my opinion. And that drives the separation from the CEO at the very top to the lowest person at the very bottom. So if the CEO could not make more than, let's say, this, then all these other employees are going to make a lot more. Mm-hmm. The profits are going to actually trickle down if there's a cap on what you can make.
Economics, ladies and gentlemen.
Trickle down, as was described to us, does not work.
Are you sure about that? I mean, it's only been 40 years.
It's only been 40 years.
No, it could turn around any minute now.
Yeah, I mean, give it another 40.
Give it another 40.
No.
I'm being sarcastic completely. It's, yeah.
Same.
Wait. What were we talking about?
Too deep on that question.
That was a
college.
Deep, Dad, I didn't know we were getting into the deep
I was expecting extremely shallow answers. Like, Jillian would be like, I would stand in front of those short fuckers. I'm not gonna. But tastes great or less filling?
Tastes great.
Tastes great.
Good answer. Good answer.
Is that something you ask everybody?
No.
Oh.
No, the only question I've asked everybody has been your favorite song, because that's kind of like the go-to. Everything else, I try to think of something stupid. Okay, ask me a question. Anything. Bring it.
How long did it take to grow out that handlebar mustache?
Ask me something else. I would say it probably took about a month to get something in and then shave it. But the beautiful part is it's growing over my lip, so now.
Oh, that is not acceptable.
Disgusting. But I think it's hilarious. Like Wilford Brimley he's a hero of mine. I would love someday. I want a mustache that covers my mouth. You can't see it, but so when I talk, it wiggles.
I know this.
Short sleeve dress shirts.
You notice?
I know this.
Short sleeve dress shirts. I want that, and I want a great comb over. Jillian and Eric, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
This was fun. Thanks for having us.
You guys.
Read in the headlines today.
What can I say about Steve Kelzer? I've known Steve for the last couple of years. Steve he is the musical arm of the Arts Consortium of Carver County. And I gotta tell you, I love the word consortium. It's cooler than my last name, so that's pretty dang cool. Steve played piano on Ren Song. He's done a few other things with me. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about COVID. He's a two-timer. He's a Hall of Famer in my heart. We have not been together in either of his COVID bouts. He's just a sweet man. Steve Kelzer, everybody. Steve Kelzer, everybody, how are you feeling?
Like shit.
like shit.
Why not?
Yeah, I want you to tell everybody, and 2 times. This is your second run at COVID.
Yeah. Well, I was all masked up and everything, and I played at a church around Christmas, and a lot of people got sick that day. So anyways, yeah, I've been working through that, and that's my cross to bear.
Right, but that's you're talking about, you're a month and a half in.
Yeah, they call it long haulers, where you may have this for a while. Whatever. At this moment, I'm doing okay. It's just some days I'm just really shitty. Crap. But I'm alive.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? You gonna play us something?
I could play a little something, a little waltz on my ukulele to get us going.
Let's do it. That's awesome. Steve Kelzer, you have been on the board at the Carver County, the Arts Consortium of Carver County, which is a lot to say. That's more syllables than my last name. The Arts Consortium of Carver County for how many years now? 7 years now? You've been on a long
Going on 7 now.
Gosh. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long trip there. You know, if nobody's not familiar with Carver County at all, in our Southwest Metro, we have, the eastern part of the county is, you know, a bunch of cities like Victoria and Chaska and Carver and
Watertown.
yeah, you get to the western part, yeah, there's Watertown. It's all farm, you know, country. So there's a big county. It's mostly farming, but I discovered when I joined the Arts Consortium, I'll call it the ACC, they had a lot of musicians out there. You'd be surprised, and I'm sure every place has them, songwriters, which is what I was going to focus on. So the first year, you know, this is the 6 CDs we've done now.
Yeah.
1 year, there's usually about 20 to 22 songwriters on there. You've been on there 3 years, in the last 3 years now. And so that's one way of promoting this songwriting in the county. And I call it the Songwriters and Musicians of Carver County.
Yeah.
Can't see it, but so the musicians are on there too. If you've played on a song and you're a Carver County musician, we'd like to hear you too. And so it's open. If anybody's interested in being on it this year, give me a call or go to the ACC website and you can get a hold of me. The other thing we did was, you were involved with this, Ted, was the Song Collective.
Yes.
We did that a few times and we had some fun. There's usually, you know, half a dozen or 5 or 6. And
those we've done like with a blend of Carver County artists and then even bringing people from around. I forget, what was your friend's name? That one, she can sing. Oh my gosh, she can sing.
Oh, Yvette Nelson.
Yes, Yvette. She is like, I remember telling her a couple of years, you need to make a record, because I would buy that record and listen to it all the time. She's like Linda Ronstadt. It's amazing. Yeah,
powerful voice and a good songwriter. So we were able to showcase her, and we're trying to get it going again the fall, I think. And I have a new place to do it too, at the Chaska Community Center Theater. So we have a really sweet place to pull it off now. I just don't want to endanger anybody, and I want to wait until fall and then maybe get going on it. And then we can, the Arts Consortium is going to try and do some music up there on concerts, maybe on Friday or Saturday night. We'll get local musicians and from around the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, the Twin City area. So things are looking up there.
Yeah. I did not know this until I moved into Carver County, but this is not an anomaly. This is happening around all kinds of towns, at least in Minnesota, and that's an awesome thing to have these places that can celebrate the arts like this.
Yep, it's kind of a place to meet people, and like I met you.
Yeah. Do you have any records out?
Well, I've been on some records, yeah, but no, I've never put out a CD of my own music.
We should change that. Carver County artists, we should do a Steve Kelzer record. That would be a cool thing, I think. You did the song, you did a couple songs on the Quarantine Dream thing. You had the Front Line on there, but now that was about your first bout with COVID, was it not?
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to write another song about COVID. It's like bad luck. But it sure has changed up things. I mean, the music scene has just gone. I don't know if it's going to come back. I mean, the band's breaking up, and some,
right. There will always be some level of arts, or some level of creativity. Carver County had the whole thing with the Pandemic Journal, and I don't think it'll ever kill the quote-unquote music scene. And I only say that because people are going to want to make music, and when it does open up, it'll probably look different, but it will still be there. And how sweet will it be to be able to go, even if it's an outdoor concert sitting on the lawn? It would just be great to be around other people. Even we might be doing this with our mask on, and that's okay.
Yeah, we'll appreciate it. I think we won't take it for granted.
This is a part of the show where we say, enough about you, Steve. Let's talk about me.
Okay.
So we've done a couple songs together. The first one we did together was off of a little EP I put together while recording in quarantine, and so we gave it a shot, and I tossed over my song "Most of All Be Safe," which was kind of this little guitar thingy I had. Everything is guitar for me, and you played this piano part, and that was the first time I realized, holy smoke! If I record with Steve, I don't have to write the songs really. He'll just kind of write them. You basically took it in a totally different direction to the point where I don't know if you were comfortable with it, but I was like, I don't even want my guitar part to be featured in there. It was like, this is a piano song. And it was really, really cool. And then our friend David threw on flugelhorn and
Sure. Yeah, it was a very good song. Another COVID, heartfelt song that.
Yeah.
Can't commend you on that one.
Yeah, that was cool. And then we moved on to The Hour of My Discontent, which I wrote that song years ago, but that one I seriously need to get you songwriting credit on that one, because I literally did scrap my guitar entirely, and you did all the music. It's all a kind of a rewritten song, and I don't know. And that one is the one that's going to go on this year's Carver County compilation, I believe. I hope, if you're willing.
Yep, I think would be a good choice. It really showcases some beautiful lyrics on that, and
thank you.
And melody too. I mean, the start and the vocal performance was. I've had a lot of compliments of who is this guy? He's really put his soul into this song. So yeah, I'm very very happy with our collaboration so far. I guess we haven't had a crappy one yet.
No, but that one's I would call it a Steve Kelzer production, because that one you ran with all the string arrangements and all the cool stuff. It just is, and I'm not even sure if you're happy with it yet. Every time, folks, you need to know, if you ever work with Steve, he'll send you something, you're like, oh, that's great, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna do something, and then you do it again. Oh, that's even better. I'm like, cool, we're done. Nope, and then he'll do it again. I think you've given me 3 different mixes, and every one keeps getting better and better. And yeah, I'm excited to hear that on a CD. But then for this record I'm putting out, the Ren song, I threw that one to you, and that's a kind of a very personal song, very emotional song. It was hard for me to perform that at all, and I'm not sure how often I will perform it, frankly. That song was for my wife. It's really, when you listen to the lyric, that's her we're talking about, and she lost her dad 6 years ago, and so he was the guy who made Wren houses, and so the whole song was about that, and just her life kind of running away from the farm and then missing it, and you just took the song in a different direction, which was wonderful, and I was super excited to be able to put that on this record.
Sure.
And then I was like, Steve put such a beautiful piano part. I have to make sure this song, every piece of this has to be wonderful. And so everybody who played on it just added another layer to it that just kind of kept making it, oh my gosh, it just crushes me every time I listen to it. But you started that. You started it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know, you have a pedal steel player from England.
Mm-hmm.
You ever get that going?
Yeah, he's a guy I met through this thing called Fiverr. Really, really cool, sweet guy. We've done a lot of recordings together, a lot of recordings by now, but that was just a wonderful layer, having that steel guitar on there. Jillian Rae played all those strings, and it was really interesting because she studied what wrens sound like, and so she was trying to capture bird sounds with all of her string things, and just this. And she called me, is like, are you cool if I do this? Or, like, I've got all these ideas, and it just kind of grew in from one fiddle part to this thing, and
Mhm.
everything just kept layering and layering on top of this beautiful song.
Yeah.
I am thankful for you, Steve, because I don't think it would have happened if it had just been me and my little guitar jangling away. I don't think it would have grown into that. It's cool how music can just build, and you can craft something, almost like somebody who whittles a cool thing out of a piece of wood, This is what it looks like when you whittle, by the way. That's what I feel like when we're making music. It's a fun thing. I like it.
Well, I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy this record. I can't wait to hear it. And you've got a lot of stuff coming up too, I think, don't you?
Well, I mean, the record, and then this TV show, and then I probably will take a nap through the summer, and then no. Yeah, I don't know. We will play. We'll do something together for sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we got to make the Steve Kelzer record. So I just announced it to at least 5 people. We're making the Steve Kelzer record. So there you go.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
We got to keep going and going and going, I guess.
Yeah, like absolutely. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah,
I mean, you could farm and I could watch TV. Yeah, I've got some questions for you. The first question I have is the one I'm asking everybody I've interviewed. What's your favorite song of all time?
We Will Have These Moments to Remember by the Four Lads.
Right.
Probably nobody knows that song, but
These Moments to Remember?
Yeah, These Moments to Remember. It's from the 50s, and I grew up with it in the back of it was on my parents' and it's still kind of gives me a chill. It's kind of a dorky song, but I don't have anything modern.
That's all right. It doesn't have to be modern. It's your favorite song. It's your song. It can't be wrong.
Yeah. Somebody at least has it as a favorite song, and that's great for a song to have that.
Here's another question. If you were to come back as a farm animal, what would it be and why?
I've always liked chickens, but I spend my life with Holstein cows, and so I'd really like to come back as a cow again. I mean, just because they're so gentle and I can relate to them, and yes, they can relate to me. So,
would you be a Holstein then?
Yeah, I has to be a Holstein.
Would you be terribly upset if you came back as a cow and I tipped you?
Tip me over. I was sleeping.
First of all, is that even a thing? Is it really a thing? Because I remember when I was a kid, I was probably a senior or maybe just out of high school. We went cow tipping and we didn't ever get out of the car. So is cow tipping it? Can you tip a cow over? Like if they can't get up?
I think it's might be for folklore. Cows are pretty big. I don't know. I'd have to see it to believe it. It's one of those things.
So you're saying if I attempted to tip you over, it ain't happening?
If I was a cow and I was sleeping, you'd probably just annoy me and I'd probably kick you or something. So
you're challenging me to a fight.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. Here's a question. Are you cage-free?
Cage-free. I'm not following you. Is it another?
That's okay. That's okay. Dumb questions. Well, Steve Kelzer, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being willing to lend your talents to my stupid little songs. It's been a joy, and we will definitely do more. Everybody, Steve Kelzer, Carver County Arts. You need to know who he is. He's a big deal. Thank you so much.
Yes, it was fun talking.
Yeah. I met Keith Chrysler on the interwebs via a Facebook group that I'm a part of. You've heard of it, no doubt, if you've heard me talk or rant or ramble, because this Facebook group is all about songwriting and songwriters. It's a challenge group. It's called the Singer-Songwriter Challenge, I think, something like that. And Keith has written a bunch of great songs, and I've written some songs, and Keith actually helped contribute to one of mine. He helped me out with like an arrangement thing, and then I asked him to play guitar, and he said, yeah. So why don't you say hello to Keith? Keith is my new friend from the singer-songwriting challenge on Facebook. I think it's one of the few things Facebook is still good for.
I think you're right.
But I love it. I love that group. I love it. How long have you been in that group, Keith?
About maybe 4 years, something like
Okay.
that. Tim, what's Tim's last name? Starts with Q. Lori? Tim Korberg. He used to do stuff on there all the time, and he invited me to the group. And then now he's kind of gone his way. He's no longer there. I talked to him a little while ago. He's a lawyer, so I said, I got a quick lawyer question to ask you about finances, although it's not your bailiwick. I said, no, by the way, why aren't you on?
Right.
Why aren't you doing this music anymore? He says, well, yeah, I'm thinking about getting back. Well, right. That's how it goes.
Yeah. You're always welcome back. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
fun to watch how people flow in and out, right?
Yep. So I'm hanging with it because it's an opportunity to have something prompt you for writing songs, although I do stuff on my own, as often as not. I don't know if you can see behind me, I got some of my guitars.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Everybody needs a bunch of guitars, right?
Yes, and the checkered floor. I love that too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, it's artsy fartsy.
I dig it. Yeah.
My favorite toy, speaking of guitar stuff, is this. I use this for when I'm doing like jazzy stuff.
Oh, is that a Hofner?
Yeah, so it's a left-handed Beatle. It's all left-handed, you can see. My left-handed Beatle bass, but there's something special about this that you can't normally get.
Yeah.
Check the frets.
It's almost like it's fretless, right?
It is.
Whoa.
I had the frets taken out.
Oh, that's cool. Yes.
So you can
I love it.
You can do all that kind of sliding stuff.
Oh, that's so great.
I don't play stand-up bass yet. I don't have much room in this room for it, but I eventually want to learn how to do that. I have
it's a knockoff of the Hofner. It's an old Tesco. Somebody my wife got it for me as a gift. It's kind of a knockoff of that Hofner. And I put flat wound strings on it, so it gets a nice dull tone.
You have to. If you have round wound strings on a fretless instrument, you mess up the.
It won't work. Yeah. Well, mine has frets. Mine does have frets. The thing is, the intonation. I've had it fixed several times, and it's almost like I have to tune anything I record with it, or
the frets aren't correct. Is what you're saying?
I'm not sure what's going on.
The easiest fix for that is to make the damn thing fretless.
I might have to do that. Yeah, I like the thuddy kind of that, like you mentioned, upright bass, and it's like I can almost emulate that if I do a little tweaking here and there to make it sound like an upright.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I sound halfway decent playing it, but I do cheat. I got these markers on here that show me where the frets go because I'm not that good yet.
Right, and it might be hard if I can't feel where the fret is. That's a good point.
There's no feeling. It's just hearing. Mm-hmm. But you can always slide to a note if you're slightly off. I mean, which is what they do all the time anyway. But I'm no Victor Wooten. I can't do his stuff,
I'm no Keith Chrysler.
What are you talking about?
Hey, Keith, I want to talk a little bit about because you've done some interesting things. I mean, you mentioned FL Studio. You're using that, and so you'll bring in like complete recordings, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Of songs. But one other thing, talk about that very odd time signature thing you had going. That was.
Oh, I did. I've done several time signature weird things. The first year that I was in, I did something. I forgot what the prompt was, but I did something in 11/8 time. So the breakdown was 2-2-2-2-3. So it's
oh my gosh!
In order to make it work, I had what do they call those sticks? I used those in order to like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in order to make the thing, in order to keep track of the time, because it was really, really hard to do. So when we get off this thing, I'll send you the link to it so you can see. Actually, no, it's on my YouTube channel. You can find it out there.
I wonder if I can pull that into the recording. I've never tried to do this. So, I've got the link in the chat though. I will. I'm gonna post a link to that for sure, so people can watch that.
Okay.
I mean, because I think you sent this to me already as well. I remember watching.
I did. I've sent it to
Yeah.
some people. I wasn't sure who. I didn't remember if I sent it to you or not. But
But I'll put a link in there because it's amazing. And I think for me, it mentally, it's like, wow, how does he do that? And you were talking to, and I don't know which pieces of this video thing because kind of started to cut out. So I'm not. You were referring to how you had to basically set your own special metronome using, I don't know if it was claves or some kind of.
Yeah, that's what I used in order to do that. So when I record that, after I had the recording of I had the bass and drums. I think I had drums. I don't remember all that I had in there now, but I put those in specifically so I could hear what I was doing because I was playing and singing at the same time. I was basically playing lead and singing at the same time. It was really hard.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've done other stuff like 7/8 times. 7/8 is not so difficult. 5/4 is easy. But
if I'm ever doing that stuff, I'm doing it by accident, and I don't know if I could recreate it. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, doing it like this and actually doing it in a performance would be a whole nother can of worms.
It's cool though that you do that. I dig that. Do you do a lot of stuff with like open tunings or alternate tunings or?
I use this puppy a lot.
Oh, does that actually do that for you? I've seen those things.
It's a spider capo.
Okay.
That's what, in fact, the last song that I did with the really fast lick in it has this. I had the thing set up on the 2nd fret, and then once it's on the 2nd fret, the guitar sounds like this. But when I trip the E string, now E is on 2, B is left alone, G is on 2,
wow.
D is alone, and this. So now the intonation of the guitar sounds like this.
Oh man. Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Smoke and mirrors. I can't play that fast, but I can't really play that fast, but having the strings set up so that the tones are like that, it facilitates it quite well.
I think it's awesome. And it didn't ruin anything for me. It still sounds great. You're writing in the group, and I think you're writing outside of the group a lot as well, yes?
A lot might be a stretch at this point, but yeah, I have historically written a lot.
Do you pre-COVID type things? Do you do a lot of performing, or do you do?
I am in about 5 or 6 different bands, but mostly I play bass with these guys because there's a lot more guitar players out there than bass players. So I'll typically bring 1 or 2. Well, bring at least one. I'll bring the fretless one and the other one of my other basses to a gig. Yeah. And occasionally, depending on who it is, one of the bands I'm in is called Why Worry. Why Worry in the Fret Band. So the name has their name actually has a pun in it, which is fine. And they do like their shtick is that they play old music, then they play older music. So they'll play. Yeah, they'll do like 60s pop. They'll do some stuff that's current too, and it's kind of fun. Sure. And one of the guys that sits in with them, Bill's a kind of a jazz guitar player, and so we'll do stuff that he does that's really jazzy, and then when we go on a break, he'll cut into something really heavy jazz. I'll just simply do a walking bass with it, which is just a blast. To me, it's like a favorite part of the group. Right. Putts around with this stuff.
You ever saw the movie Spinal Tap Mach 3, I think it was, where they went into Jazz Odyssey?
I didn't see that. I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, it's
like my bad because I'm supposed to have seen it.
It's okay. It's okay. There's always time.
That's right. And I'm retired, so I got plenty of time.
You are? You're lucky. I can't wait.
I'm older than dirt.
I'm dirt.
It wasn't much to look at.
We have, let's see, tell you about our environment here. I live in Stillwater. We have about 18 acres. We have 2 cats and a dog, and now we're going to get another dog coming probably tomorrow because the dog that we do have has masticular, so it's a degeneration. He's going blind. So we're going to have another little puppy to be his friend.
Guide him around.
One cat likes him and hangs out with him. The other cat's like, go away.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
And then we have my partner Lori has a bunch of chickens in the back too, so we have fresh eggs on top of everything else.
That is phenomenal.
And a couple of beehives. We have a couple of beehives around here too.
Really?
Well, we have a bunch of like wildflower acreage here. So Yeah, so it's as close as you can get to organic in the state.
Right. So you get a lot your own honey? Or do you go in and
We have a bunch of honey, yeah.
are you the bee tamer or is Lori
No,
the bee tamer?
no, I mean, I assist. It's Lori's gig, but
Yeah.
I know how to do it, but I prefer to write music and play. I heard some of your songs on your album. It sounds good. And I
Thank
do
you.
appreciate, like I said, the first thing I did is listen to what you put me on. So obviously the first thing I did is go out there to listen to see what you did
Yeah.
to put it together. I like the way that you mix it down. It sounds professional, for crying out loud.
That's the song as part of the songwriter challenge. It's funny how that one kind of came about. In the summer, because I was kind of getting burnt out on writing, I thought I want to do co-writes. And so I was just reaching out to people, but I wasn't super organized in how I was doing it. And then that week came up, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. So I sat down and just banged out a half a song and posted it. And then you came out and said, well, here, that's actually a song here. And you just basically finished it. And
Well, yeah, what it is, I pieced it back together. I stuck this part in the middle so I'd have something to play off of.
added a bass line and your cool guitar stuff, and then I was pulling songs together for a record, and that song really fits kind of the theme of maybe not the entire record, but it kind of fits this theme of lyrically, like this theme of I think we're not good at listening as people, and a lot of people are letting fear drive them, and I think it's like, why don't we kind of just open up to each other a little bit and be honest and don't be afraid so much, but instead like let compassion lead you. And so that song was fit that, so I put it in there, but I was like, well, I really liked what Keith did, so somewhere we started chatting again about it, things, and I don't remember how it worked out. I'm like, oh man, could you play guitar on this? And
it's like, wow, you talked me into it.
it was wonderful. It's just really cool, and I love that we can do this kind of stuff over the internet, and we can make music in our bedroom and can sound halfway decent. That whole record was supposed to be demoing to make a record with a band, and I changed my mind. Decided I like the way the demos sound. So yeah,
sounds good. I think you did a good job on it.
Thank you. I'd like to do more. I think we should do some more stuff like that, recording and actually write a song. We should co-write something. I think I want to do that again in the summer, I think, and let's connect and actually just write a song, see where it goes. Okay. Who knows what happens, you know?
Pick a number between 4 and 9. That'll be the numerator on the time signature.
You're gonna challenge me.
4, 7, 4, 8, 4, 4. Pick a number between. We'll come up with something odd.
There you go.
Just because we can.
Why not? That'd be great.
Push the limit.
We'll see if we can. You'll be able to do it, but I might be like, hey, I'll just sing.
It's a piece of cake. Like I said, it's smoke and mirrors is what it is.
All I want people to do is think I'm cool. I don't have to be cool, right? Yeah. So I have some really riveting questions to ask. First question I'm asking everybody is, what's your favorite song of all time? Real riveting question.
My favorite song of all time? What genre? Because that's too big.
Right. Whatever the first thing I will never hold you to it, because I've told everybody I've asked this question.
The first thing that came to mind when you said that was Shostakovich Second Piano Concerto.
How do you spell that?
Shostakovich, I don't know.
Second Piano Concerto. I will find a recording of it.
Very dark, yeah, look into that. But as far as like pop music, The Unquiet Grave is a 14th century English folk song.
Oh man.
And it sounds like this. The Unquiet Grave is a 14th century English song. Basically, it's about a guy who mourns his true love who has died. I'm not going to sing, I'm just going to play it.
Sure.
After a year, the ghost says, "Would you please go away and leave me alone? I want to rest," you know?
Right.
The Unquiet Grave.
The Unquiet Grave. Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Good picks. Good picks.
Yeah, you expected something like, if it were modern music, it'd be A Day in the Life by the Beatles. That's my favorite popular.
It's cool because of its, the whole, I mean, I don't know if one is literally Lennon and one is McCartney or how that.
A Day in the Life?
Yeah. I mean, it's two songs. It's two songs in one,
Right, but the whole song is about a friend of theirs who's some rich dude in England who died in a car wreck.
It is. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, look it up. It's got some very interesting history to it.
Wow. I mean, those lyrics, he blew his mind out in the
car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed, so.
Oh my gosh. That changes everything. I have no idea what they were writing about.
It's a historically based song,
So he's the one who woke up and got out of bed, and all of this stuff they're kind of like leading up into what might have led to. Holy crap. That changes everything for me. Wow. I will listen to that song differently now.
As far as modern songs, it's probably my favorite.
What about this? If you were to die and come back as a classic car, what would it be and why?
If I could come back as a classic car, what would it be and why? 57 Chevy, maybe. Or possibly a 53 Chrysler New Yorker.
I was hoping you'd say Chrysler. Okay, I got one last question. Three things about me. One is a lie. 1, I met Bono while touring the East Coast. 2, I was a carny back in the day. 3, I gotta put these in there. 3, I've been skydiving. Which one's a lie?
He wasn't much to look at, but he had a heart of gold.
You're a carny.
Nope, actually, I was a carny. The Bono thing is a lie. I've never met Bono. And I've never even toured the East Coast. I've toured the East Coast of Wisconsin, but I've never toured the East Coast. I was a carny. I was 12 years old, and I helped set up rides for the city carnival. So that was my carny experience. And I also advise people not to go on those rides. When you go to those city little festivals and they have the Ferris wheel or all that stuff, don't go on those rides because they have people like me at 12 years old putting those together.
I have 3 things. One of them is a lie.
Okay.
1, I actually started playing guitar right-handed and switched when I realized it was more fun to play left-handed than right-handed. 2, I spent most of my 20s as a music director in a fundamentalist church. 3, I have a song that I wrote while in that fundamentalist church that's known all over the world.
Oh, dang it. See, now, because I was going to say 1 and 2 are probably true. Well, 1 I think is very likely because it just seems like something you would do. From the little I know you, like the way you like to do experimental things with music, you probably would switch and play left-handed. But then the fundamentalist church, I'm like, I bet you probably did that. But now you have a song that was famous. I wonder if 1 is the one that's a lie.
You're correct.
And see, any of them, I would have believed that all of them were true.
I did that just spur of the moment just now. No, when I was I wrote a 4-part round based on Psalm 104.
Wow.
The year after I wrote it, this is back in the 70s, the year after I wrote it, a friend of mine called and was all excited because she just bought an album called Scripture and Song that's produced and developed and actually done. It was vinyl, we're talking about the 70s, in New Zealand, and my song was on there as author unknown. So if you look for Let the Glory of the Lord Endure, which, by the way, I'm an atheist, but if you look for this song, you will see, depending on where you find it, it's been translated into multiple languages and it's all over the world.
That you wrote it and you're still not getting credit for it?
No. Well, I initially got like $500 in a royalty check for $500 from these guys. This is back in the 70s.
Oh, you at least did get paid. They just
but I signed it over to them, so I've got.
Sure.
I didn't give a shit. It's like I said, it's all over the world. So pretty bizarre.
World famous Keith Chrysler.
Yeah, that's my 15 minutes of fame.
Hey, some people only get 12 minutes of fame.
That's sad. They have 3 minutes left and they die. What are they going to do?
I know. Thank you so much, Keith Chrysler. You are a wonderful man. Thank you.
I do the best I can.
My last guest, Matt Graunke. Matt is a sweet, sweet man who lives pretty close to me. He lives up in Buffalo. I'm not going to give his address. Matt plays mean guitar, and he played some mean guitar in a couple of songs on this records. And we're going to chat about that and whatever else tickles our fancies. Say hello to Matt. You know what, Matt? Matt Graunke or Graunke?
Graunke.
Graunke, 2 syllables.
Yes, sir.
I should know this, and you probably have told me, and I probably asked you several times. That's how horrible I am. How are you?
Not bad, sir. I'm taking a little bit of time away from the real job and doing some music stuff.
Yep, I like it. You are just you're spinning up your website. Are you going to do like mattgraunke.com or what?
I did a lot of things. I bought a bunch of domains and have them all redirecting to that one. So, all my marketing right now is focusing on the current project, Crow River Rebellion.
Yeah.
And but the main web page is mattgraunke.com. So either way, it will get you there. And then I figure as things progress and I continue to grow and do different things, I can just keep adding new domains and keep redirecting and changing the theme as needed. So once I reach that age where I get into polka instead of folk, I can shift gears pretty easily.
Matt Graunke and the Minnesota Fat Five or something like that, right?
Similar. My very first time on stage ever was with a polka band. So it's going to be full circle. That's when we know I'm about done, is when
that is awesome.
Release the polka album.
I have not yet played in a polka band. Can you get your hands on an accordion?
I have one.
You do?
Yeah. Well, I guess I personally don't, but it's in my closet behind me here. It belongs to, or it used to belong to, my wife's grandfather.
Okay.
So we have it now. I got somebody that knows what they're doing play it, because I've taken it out of the box a few times and
noisy.
Went about as well as my attempt to learn the violin.
Which is like cats making babies. Yeah.
I'm assuming it was because my rosin was bad. Right?
Right. You're putting out an EP soon, right? You're pretty close to wrapping that thing.
I'm done with everything I'm supposed to do. Right now, it's in the hands of my engineer and producer, Brandon. North Fork Studios there.
Okay. Yeah.
Crow River. He is telling me that it should be soon. We're not really in a big hurry. It's taken me 3 years to write all this music and get it recorded. So what's another couple months?
Take your sweet time.
Yeah, and with the current situation of not really being able to go out and support it anyway. Yeah.
I know. It's kind of backwards. I'm putting out more music now than I was when I was playing. I don't know why. I don't know what else to do with it. I just can't hold it on. But I get it. It's hard to there's not going to be a release show. We're not going to be gigging a ton. Well, maybe by summer. Maybe. Hopefully. I mean, for sure there'll be gigs.
I wish I was releasing as much music as you were, but it just takes me a lot longer to write a song.
Yeah. Quantity over quality is what I go for. That's the way it works. New EP, I know we've talked about this. You're I'll call it passively looking to put a band together.
Mm-hmm.
And I say passively because you want it. You're like me. You're probably a little more active than me in that realm, but I talk about it a lot, and then I get cold feet. But I think the thing is trying to find the right people, and you live not far from me. We're kind of away from the cities, so finding the right people who aren't already overly committed, but also don't want a major commitment.
Yep, and finding people that are on the same page as me, and that's the key thing.
Yep.
The approach that I'm going with now, I don't know if it's going to work, but it's just compiling a list of hired guns that I can trust and that I like. And if the opportunity comes up, give them a call. Hey, you guys available? You want to do this? Yeah. I'd love to, but I'm busy. Okay, let me call next guy on the list.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. My stuff's easy to play, and so it's not like they have to. We're not Led Zeppelin where we're doing a bunch of changes and all that. Yeah. So it's follow the leader.
I think the key to being successful in the realm that you and I live in is being flexible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And my previous outfit, we started exploring that we did what the gigs needed, not what we did. So if we had an opportunity to play as a band somewhere, but it was a small venue. We're not going to haul all of our stuff in there. That is now an acoustic show. We're
Right.
all in chairs and, and just kind of dumb it down. And the good songs will still sound good.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun to do a different take on things too. That's
what I'm hoping to do this time around is to be able to go anywhere from a duo to a full 5 or 6 piece outfit and still get the same quality of performance out of it. I'm hoping the songs can stand on their own.
Right. Yeah.
And then finding that network that can pull that off, because being able to play well in a trio is an entirely different ballgame than playing well in a 6-piece, 7-piece band. So
pre-quarantine, I have a buddy, David Falbo, who we would go around. He plays harmonica, and he would play give me the key, and he would play on every song, and he played guitar as well. So we would sometimes he'd switch and play guitar, or maybe I'd take a break, and there would be no break. I would take a break, and he would play during like the typical break. If you're doing a 3-hour gig and you have a break for every 15 every 45, he would be the break. I got to play on your stuff. I played bass. I play a little bass. So I would be a bass player for hire for you, for sure.
Right on.
That would be fun. I can't be the only one. I would need to be like yep, I can do what I can't kind of thing. So, but you dig
bass players like Spinal Tap.
I thought that was their drummers, the ones where they blew up or choked on their own vomit. But maybe yours would be bass players. Yeah, be like the preserved moose where you get locked in the pod when you couldn't get out of. Yeah,
I play lead bass. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I have actually played Big Bottom live. We did that at one show, 3 of us playing bass, and it was fabulous.
That's awesome.
Think probably not, but it was fun. Beyond that, you got the record, you've got the band stuff going. You're heavily involved in the Midwest CMO.
That's correct. Yeah,
and that's really how we met, right? Through the Midwest CMO. It's a cool organization with a bunch of great people, great musicians and promoters and producers and just the whole gamut.
It's a heck of a run we got going here, and it's just a shame that all the momentum we had coming into last year to get derailed the way it did. So it's kind of a challenging time for the organization right now on a membership standpoint, because of nobody's gigging and it's hard. So we've been working to try and take care of some house cleaning issues as we've got a little, we'll call it downtime, but it's really not downtime. You're still working on your craft and working to get better at things.
Right. Yeah.
Scenario. So kind of refocusing on how we're going to relaunch this thing and get people out again. And
cool.
We're going to scale our songwriter showcases that we used to do.
Okay.
Previously, we basically had like 4 venues, one on each side of the cities, and it was partners in it. And the plan is to scale that, get more of those venues, get more hosts involved, to get more artists the opportunity to go out and do it, and basically create writers' rounds at this point.
Those are great. Those are so much fun. I did a couple of them through the Midwest CMO, and I've done a number outside of it as well. And those are probably my favorite gig, when you just get to sit and tell stories and sing songs and maybe even collaborate on something live on the fly. What key are you in? You start playing or harmonizing?
It's an absolute hoot. It's one of my favorite things about the organization was the networking.
How about we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about me now. So you played on a couple of songs. You were gracious enough to help me out on a couple of songs. As I was starting to put this project, I've been working on this EP just for show for, I don't know, probably since early fall, maybe. A lot of the songs were already written, and I thought I kind of want to make a record out of this. It's a fun little collection of songs. And then somewhere down the road, the other record, the one that you actually play on, so it's 2 records in one, 2 records separately and in one. Always Wanted More. That's going to come out in April, so people are just going to get so tired of me, and I'm okay with that. But I started by demoing songs, thinking maybe I'll do this one with the band. And then as I was demoing, I'm like, I kind of really like the vibe I got going. Maybe I'll do another record with the band down the road. And I like this, but what do I do? Because I've got too much stuff. And I thought, well, instead of confusing people, I'll just mash them kind of into, it is multiple records, but it's also like the CD will be all of it. Mm-hmm. You were kind enough to lend your talents to a couple of songs. The first one that you played on, I have my doubts. I was trying to get a slide thing, and I really suck at slide guitar. And I'm like, Matt, can you play slide? And you're like, yeah. So I love what you did. It was just incredible, and you just banged it out. Yeah.
We got lucky.
That's sometimes how it works, right? It's like trying to get that vibe when you're doing something.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. The slide is something that's always been interesting and something I've always been interested in. And there's some really, really talented guys around here that I look up to that I'm able to kind of glean from and listen to their stuff over and over again and just try and figure out how they did it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos of Joe Walsh, Warren Haynes, Derek Trucks. I'm nowhere near any of those guys as far as what they could do, but it's just figuring it out and then just trying to be steady with it because it's so easy to sound bad.
I don't know if I sent you the tracks with mine on there as a guide, but it was like that was like the cats making babies is really what my slide playing is like. So I'll stay away from that. And then you did Last Regret, and I think I loved how I never thought of that song as a jam. I don't even know what a jam band is. I mean, when you say that, I think of like the Grateful Dead.
That's
that kind of stuff.
That's kind of what I mean.
Okay.
When I was describing that to you, because that's just what it felt like to me where that guitar lived. It was just, I turned it on and just figured out what key it was in and listened to it once, and then I think it was the next 2 or 3 times that came up with that we put on there, and it just felt like we should be on a stage in the middle of a field somewhere with people sitting on blankets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Song's like 20 minutes long.
That's awesome. I did not envision that. I don't know what I envisioned, frankly. I was like, hey, can you just put a lead part or something? And then you did that. I'm like, this is so cool. That's a beautiful thing of like collaborating with people, especially in this realm, because I don't know what I would have done if you would have just started doing that when we were jamming. I probably would have loved it as well, but I sent it to you and it's almost like opening a Christmas present.
Yeah.
And you get it back, like, this is so great. And it took it in a different direction. It really actually kind of helped shape the song, I think. It's super cool. I love it. And yes, I think we need to do that. We need to be playing somewhere where people are sitting on blankets and just play that song for 40 minutes. And
not again, no, it's cold. But
not now, yeah.
That's one of the things that I like the most about doing things this way. This whole album that I've got going too is a full band album, and there's different people on every song, different drummers, different keyboard players, different basses. I've got some fiddle work coming out of Tennessee. I've got keyboard work coming out of West Coast, and just the producer that's working with it, he's like, you sure you want to do it this way? Because it's all got to sound like it's on the same album. And I'm like, this is reality. The reality of the situation is if this is done, this is how it has to get done.
Right.
I'm not afraid to show that, we don't have to do it the way that everybody's been doing it for 50, 60, 70 years. This is how I'm going to do it. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's not that uncommon, really. There's a lot of people, especially like a solo art. Hey, I have got some questions I'm going to throw at you, kind of rapid fire, real simple questions. One I've been asking everybody is, what's your favorite song of all time? Your favorite song? Shouldn't be this hard, Matt.
I got too many.
What's your favorite song today?
My favorite song today? Allman Brothers instrumental, Jessica.
Oh, yeah. That is great. Is that that? Yeah.
I woke up with that in my head, so I listened to it a few times.
Yeah.
Getting ready for work. So
I dig it.
That's my favorite song today.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I asked that question, and honestly, if you ask me what's your favorite song of all time, I'd say, well, today it is. Because it does change all the time for me.
Yeah, by the time this meeting's over, it'll be a different one.
Absolutely. What's your favorite song of mine?
It wasn't much to look at, but it had a heart of gold.
You don't have to answer that one, because I know the answer is all of them.
No, I don't like all of them. Realistically, I really like the lyric behind Have My Doubts. I think that is one of the most interesting songs.
Thank you.
Just because it just covers so many things. There's nothing preachy about it. It's not trying to take you any direction. It's just saying, hey, let's question all this.
Yeah.
There was a time when everybody thought the stars went around the earth.
They don't. Pluto is a planet. This question is important because I know you post a lot of pictures of like food on your Instagram. My question for you is, if you could come back as a choice cut of meat, what would it be and why?
Really good bacon.
Really good bacon. Ooh, yeah. Why? I mean, I think I know the answer. So, duh, but why?
Well, it's the best. 2, you can have it a 1,000 different ways. You just have to cook it. You can eat it at breakfast or lunch. You can put it in your pocket and bring it with you later for the day.
Oh my gosh, yes. You
But
can also do that with tots. And mac and cheese works in your pocket too. I don't know if you knew that, but it does.
3, whenever Clint Eastwood was loading up his horse to go on an adventure or something, it was always, coffee and bacon. And that's how he survived. And that's good enough for him. That's
right.
Good enough for me.
Makes perfect sense. You can put it on ice cream. You can do anything with it, honestly.
Dip it in bourbon.
Oh my gosh. So then I guess the follow-up to that is, would you be terribly upset if someone ate you? You come back as a choice cut of meat, or do you expect to be eaten?
I would expect to be eaten.
Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
That's
if
fair.
I'm a choice cut of meat.
That's fair. Living your purpose in that sense.
Yeah. Everybody's here for something.
Final question, and I don't mean to get controversial. This might upset someone, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you be terribly upset if somebody put ketchup on you?
No.
No?
Everybody's got their thing.
It's a good answer. I like that. I mean, I think it's weird personally, but if you do you,
My wife's a ketchup family.
Is she? Are they? Their whole family is? Or?
Yeah, her whole family is. When we first started dating, she put ketchup on steak. And the first couple times I had meals with her family, it was almost the end of our dating relationship.
It's disturbing. My wife does use ketchup like with roast beef, or she doesn't do a steak, but she'll do it with roast beef and other like things like that I'm like, I find odd. And I don't mind it. Just don't put it on my plate. Sometimes she wants to be helpful and I'm like, don't put it on my plate. Don't put it near mine. I'm okay if you do it. Just don't force that crap on me. I like ketchup actually on a hot dog or.
Yeah, it has its place.
I've never tried it on bacon. So when I thought of that question, I hadn't really thought of bacon.
I just can't imagine a scenario where that would ever happen, though. I think we're reaching into the realm of complete impossibleness there.
I'm going to put that out and see. I bet you somebody's done it. I don't know.
I never want to associate with somebody.
Right. Right. But we're not judging.
No, not at all.
MattGraunke.com, that's a good site. And then did you get the Crow River Rebellion.com?
Yeah, they'll both take you to the same place.
Cool. So that website is live, and he's going to start pumping out new music very soon.
And recipes.
And what? And recipes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. No ketchup though.
Eating is my second favorite thing about touring.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Matt, I appreciate you. I thank you for doing this stuff with my songs, and thank you for letting me play on your stuff. Thank you for doing this. This is going to be fun and ridiculous, and so I appreciate this. Man.
Hey, anytime.
This has been a fun episode. I got to nerd out with my musical friends, and we got to talk about all kinds of things that kind of get us excited, making sounds and noise, and just having a good old time. I thank you for sticking with us, and you come back next week. I've got something very special lined up for you. I can't say stay classy. That's not my thing. You be good? No. You complete me? No. You son of a...
He wasn't much to look at, but he had a heart of gold. He'd give the shirt off his back just to keep you from being cold. He didn't live perfect, but he tried to